Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. My name is Nick, and today guys we're going to be jumping into the world of Luna once again. Are the Luna holders being thrown under the bus? We're going to be checking out a couple of things that I think are incredibly interesting that you must know. As I get into this video, if you find it useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. If you have not yet joined us in Discord, links in the description down below. It's a fantastic community talking crypto 24/7, completely free, and I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there. Okay guys, let's get into this. Let's get right down into the desktop here. The first thing we'll want to take a look at is what's going on with the price action of Luna, BUSD, just Binance of course here. And you know, yeah, it hasn't really changed. It's the market's incredibly stagnant with Bitcoin doing what Bitcoin does best right now, which is being indecisive over its directions, right? So what we've actually got here is the Luna and trading at 0.000186 right now at the point of recording this video. And so, you know, it's okay. You know, it is what it is. Unfortunately, there's definitely not the best outlook for Luna, considering where it was previously all the way up here. We've dropped down 99.999%, etc. Now, as of course high risk, I'm not saying that anyone should go ahead and trade on Luna and all that kind of stuff, but I just wanted to kind of give a bit of an idea as to where Luna currently is, where things have been previously. Even if it does just move up a little bit, maybe 1 cent, it is possible in the future if they can burn it and all that kind of stuff. Who knows where the things are actually going to go. Some money has definitely been made by some people who got in super early. I mean, I said this before, right? It's about 178,000%. If you were to jump on Luna the second that it got listed and you were to buy a position there, it spiked up 178,000%. It was very, very significant. But this isn't really what I want to be talking about today. There's this that I want to talk about today, right? And this is not the best news for people who own Luna by any stretch of the imagination. Or UST for that matter. This is a community plan, okay? I personally, straight off the bat, I don't think this will be successful, but I'm going to go through this with you, and you guys can kind of come up to your own conclusions. Let me know in the comments below what you think of this as well, right? So basically, this is a Terra ecosystem revival plan 2. Now, this is going to be voted on soon, if I can find, yeah, on the 18th, right? So tomorrow. So yeah, tomorrow this will be voted on Asia time. So basically, Terraform Labs will put this proposal up for governance vote on the 18th of the 5th Asia time. If passed, it will coordinate the network fork. Okay, and basically we've got the timeline to that below. So the idea here is that essentially they're going to fork the network, and I'm just going to go through a couple of these key points, right? And then I'll link this in to the description, and you can get a better understanding, right? So basically, Terra is more than UST, at least apparently according to these guys. While UST has been the central narrative of Terra's growth story over the last few years, or over the last year, I should say, the distribution of UST has led to the development of one of the strongest developer ecosystems in crypto. Okay, so what's really important about this, right? So there's a couple of things that I straight off the bat that just kind of wind me up a little bit. Now, I'm not invested in UST. I have a little bit of Luna that I threw at it, and I'm okay that that's gone to zero, whatever. But essentially, if it's more than UST, right? Luna is more. If Terra is more than UST, then you're saying that the growth of the ecosystem over the last year is due to the distribution of UST, which is the strongest developer ecosystem in crypto. Then how can you say it's more than UST if it is UST that drove the entire ecosystem? Just a question below. Let me know what your thoughts are on that. It just confuses me how you can say that you're more than UST, but yet it's UST that drove the strongest development ecosystem in crypto. Just because commerce feels contradictory. But anyway, let me know in the thoughts in the comments below. The Terra ecosystem and its community are worth preserving. Right, okay, so here we get into the kind of the meats of it, right? Terra app ecosystem contains hundreds of developers working on everything from DeFi to fungible labor markets, you know, state-of-the-art infrastructure and community experience. Terra Station has a large install base with million-plus users across the world. Although distressed, strong brand recognition and a name that almost everyone in the world has heard of. Now, I think most people in the world have now heard of it for the wrong reasons, right? And I think it's important that we understand that the name is definitely tarnished. There's a lot of I guess, goodwill that has to now happen, right? Why would somebody want to go near an ecosystem that has had this kind of, absolutely mammoth collapse, right? I think you got to look at it not necessarily as just you've got a brand name already out there, but the fact that you've got to do some kind of PR to spin this around in a positive, because just by saying you've got a brand name, that's not necessarily going to be a positive. It can also be a negative. People will tend to avoid you potentially. So UST peg failure is Terra's DAO hack moment, a chance to rise anew from the ashes. So that's kind of what they're talking about, right? But let's talk about the summary of the actual plan, and why I think Lunar investors are being thrown under the bus, right? So fork the Lunar or fork the Terra chain into a new chain without an algorithmic stablecoin. So they want to remove UST, right? That same thing that is kind of what led to the strongest developer ecosystem. They want to remove it. Okay, so they don't want a stable coin. The old chain can be called Terra Classic, and token can be Lunar Classic, okay, or 𝗕𝗓𝗪, and a new chain can be called Terra, token Lunar. So again, basically, that's a bad idea straight off the bat to me. If you're going to fork it, you should really come up with a new name that makes you definitively different. Otherwise, you're going to create a lot of confusion. Why invest in Lunar, the new version, if that is going to kind of basically be associated with such a catastrophic event, right? I feel that what they're trying to do is just piggyback off of the marketing that has already been done and try to launch something in a really, really strong way, which I don't think it is going to do that. But let me know your thoughts in below. Lunar will be airdropped across Lunar Classic stakers, Lunar Classic holders, residual UST holders, and essential app developers of Terra Classic. Now, the TFL wallet will basically be removed from the airdrop, so they won't be getting anything, and it'll basically make it a fully community-owned chain. That's okay. I'm okay with all of that. But is this a snapshot? I assume that you're not going to be distributing 1 trillion or so Lunar tokens, so I'm assuming it's going to be a snapshot before the USD peg. It doesn't really tell me that, but I assume that's kind of what you're going to be doing. I'll link this in the description below. Let me know more if you actually read the entire thing in a lot more detail and spot these inconsistencies or these details. So allocate a large portion of the token distribution in 1, providing emergency runway for existing Terra dApps developers, 2, align interest of devs with the long-term success of the ecosystem, network security to be incentivized with token inflation, and basically target staking rewards of about 7%. So that's kind of like the summary of it all, right? And I'm not going to go through all of these things. You kind of have a distribution model here. You've got the technical details of things. Yeah, so it's pre-attack. So they call it an attack, but it's not really. It's anyway. So basically, it'll be this block number here. This is where they'll be taking the snapshot. Okay, so again, that's not going to be anyone who's been investing in Lunar since the depegging event, if you will. Launch the snapshot. Will basically be here as well, so a little bit later, on the launch one. So interesting kind of stuff. So this is kind of the proposal, and they're going to be putting this out there to the community for voting or governance vote tomorrow, right? So it'd be interesting to get your thoughts and opinions on this. I don't think this is going to work. I don't think it's going to work because you're basically just trying to take all the branding that's already been in existence from Terra Labs, right? They basically just want to use Lunar as the name, and you want to use Terra as the ecosystem name. But that's going to have a lot of bad press with it, even though you've kind of forked it and you've kind of created something new without the stable coin, and maybe you'll fix a few of the other issues and bugs in the system. But essentially, you're still going to have that PR problem, okay? And then, of course, just by forking it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get all the exchanges on board either. Getting exchanges to list this new Lunar, it could be also problematic. It'd be problematic because, A, you've got to build up some good faith. What gives you the expertise to be able to provide this? Now, a lot of the centralized exchanges, they only tend to list if you pay them a significant amount of money or have proven that you're significantly decentralized and all that kind of stuff. So the airdrop would solve that decentralization piece potentially, but you still have to make sure you have a significant number of nodes up and running on this new ecosystem as well, and essentially, you know, being able to kind of shut down maybe the old one if people are wanting to abandon that. There's going to be a few problems around those centralized exchanges. I don't think it's going to be as clean cut as maybe it might seem in this proposal. And obviously, decentralized exchanges would require the community to also put up a lot of funding for liquidity. I wouldn't like to think that people who are then just airdrop this token are going to be able to then go ahead and or would want to necessarily go ahead and provide liquidity on the decentralized exchanges. So the community here would obviously have to go ahead and also provide vast amounts of sums to basically provide liquidity pools so that people can then actually start trading on these tokens that are just going to be created. I think there's a lot of thought that needs to go into this. I don't know how much has been done, how much of the logistics behind it have been thought out, but I don't think it's going to necessarily be successful without a serious number of kind of, I guess, current investors really getting behind it and not just wanting to kind of put it to bed and be done with it. Also, a significant amount of funding to kind of make sure that you get listed on all of the centralized exchanges and decentralized exchanges. And I still don't think that naming, that rebrand of the name is a good idea. I think you have to come up with something totally different. You know, so anyway, but that's personally my thoughts and opinions on it. And it does feel that basically, you know, kind of being thrown under the bus to a degree, specifically UST holders or existing Luna holders. Basically, they just want to hijack the name, the branding that we were kind of buying into, and basically run their own project by basically, yeah, without any kind of that hard work of marketing and building up a community. This should be no different than kind of forking Bitcoin into Bitcoin Cash, for example, or any other kind of ecosystem that has had forks after forks after forks, for example. I think essentially you're almost better off, if you're going to fork it, trying to make it your own and starting to try to actually build a new name for yourselves rather than just taking that old existing branding. But I do understand that it has got a little bit of clout, but I think it comes with far too much negativity at this point to make this proposal successful in the future. As I said, there's a couple of inconsistencies in there. Removing the stablecoin, which you're also saying it contributes to the significant growth of the ecosystem, to me says, why would you remove such a thing? Surely you'd want to put that in. Maybe we do have a stablecoin. Maybe it's just not algorithmic. I don't know. Maybe that's one for you guys to also figure out if you know, you want to kind of see this plan kind of come into fruition. But yeah, this is going to be voted on tomorrow, so let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Do you think this is a good idea? Do you think this is a bad idea? Do you think investors are being thrown under the bus? Do you think it's you know, it's a good idea to use the Terra name and all that kind of stuff? Let me know in the comments below. I'm really interested to get your thoughts and opinions. Guys, I'm going to leave the video there. If you have found this useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. And with all that said, done and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.